long time no see. My body finally decided to stop bronchitis maxing. God, you'd think I was smoking 5 packs of Morleys a day. So today we're starting off Season 7 with the Sixth Extinction, airing November 7th, 1999. The Sixth Extinction continues where we left off with Mulder losing his damn mind and Scully being in Africa and definitely not California. I mean, see, this title card right here tells us this is clearly the Ivory Coast. Scully goes into one of her classic Mulder monologues because someone has to do it. She's trying to figure out how this rubbing has driven Mulder mad, but what I'd like to know is who this spooky man is. I don't know about you, but I can't actually picture Scully using a machete. She's not the final girl in a slasher flick. I will give props to whoever decided on this outfit though. Hey, when did the X-Files turn into The Exorcist 2? While Scully's dealing with her bug issue, Mulder is still crazy. Oh no, not Fowley again. Skinner attempts to speak with Mulder, but in a not-so-shocking turn of events, Mulder attacks him. How many times is Mulder going to attack Skinner while losing his damn mind? You'd think Skinner would have learned by now. Oh, Mulder was just trying to communicate with Skinner. Was the choking really that necessary? Meanwhile, back in Africa...
My God, what happened here?
I would also like to know what happened. Did Scully actually manage to kill thousands and thousands of insects? Also, she looks like she just stepped out of the shower, not a bug-infested tent in the middle of Africa. Anyways, Dr. Amina Ngebe was a colleague of Dr. Solomon. You know, this guy who got killed in the previous episode. I'm just gonna call this lady Dr. Amina because I cannot say Ngebe. But she's like, don't tell any of the men about the vanishing man or the bugs, because they'll take it as some sort of evil juju. Luckily for these men, Scully is there to tell them exactly what to do. In English. But since when does the ocean just suddenly boil? Back with Skin Man, who's trying to help Mulder. Thankfully though, someone left some tape on the floor so he'd know exactly where to stand.
Can you write?
K-R... Wait, Mulder needs cry check? I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm sleeping in that bug-infested tent. Also, she's gotta be so grimy at this point. I mean, it's not like she can go in the water to rinse off. We just saw it boil a few guys alive. Scully is visited by some guy, but the funny part is she says to him, "Sorry, I don't speak your language," as if he can speak hers.
Perhaps you need an interpreter.
Stay away from me!
Are you gonna hack me up in front of my driver?
I mean, maybe you did kill Dr. Solomon. Dr. Barnes is like, hey, I also don't believe. Maybe we can not believe together? And that was basically all the convincing Scully needed to let her guard down.
What is it?
Slime! What? It's a river of slime!
First boiling, now blood? This feels a bit too far-fetched, even for the X-Files. Now how's about that 100-year-old guy who can stretch?
You are elf, uncontrollably...
Wait a minute, Critchgow? I thought it was Krychek. Also, this looks nothing like how Mulder started writing it. You know, for a guy that had such a high position within the government, you'd think he'd have a better place. Then again, even cigarette smoking man seemed to live in a dump.
Michael Critchko.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Huh, that's interesting. I could swear the title card just said 5:05 a.m. Critchgow seems to harbor a bit of resentment towards Mulder, blaming him for basically losing everything, but he didn't really have to get involved, did he? I mean, sure, it was Scully who found him sneaking around with the ice core sample in Gethsemane, and he did attack her, but ultimately he could have just made up anything to get them off his back. But regardless, Critchgow comes along anyways because Mulder thinks he can help. Somehow. They notice some unusual brain activity, and it seems Mulder is able to anticipate questions before they ask them. So if you haven't figured it out by now, Mulder is basically turning into Gibson Praise. Krichgau seems to know what can help him, though it seems to be a temporary fix. Unfortunately, things go to shit when Fowley arrives.
Fox Mulder, right? He's restrained, it says. And he's not in his bed?
No. How many times can I say it?
He's right here.
Oh, do you look stupid? She better apologize to that nurse. Fowley isn't that dumb, I guess, because she knows Skinner is up to something, and we know this because Mulder, who can now read minds, tells us. A mind-reading Mulder has got to be the biggest threat, no? Look at how much the Syndicate overreacted to a child who could read minds. If they were still alive to see this, they'd be losing their collective shit. Oh, also, Mulder now knows Krychek is using Skinner with those nanobots. So does this mean Krychek no longer has his inside man within the FBI? In the meantime, Scully is attempting to translate the writings on the craft, which apparently consists of the writings from every religion ever established. So basically, we are going full Ancient Aliens with this one. Along with this, it also seems to be carrying the complete mapping of the human genome. So I guess we're all just aliens then.
Because today I understand everything. Beginning and end, Alpha and Omega, everything in between.
I feel like we're watching Millennium more so than the X-Files.
You think you're going to take the credit?
I'm only here to help my friend. It has power.
It is power.
Kind of an odd way to say power. Also, see Scully? You never should have trusted this guy. While Scully is held hostage, Mulder gets to test his new remote viewing ability.
It works much like a card trick. You tap the monitor where the saucer image appears, when it appears, or when you think it does.
Who are you gonna call?
Excuse me, mister, but I'm pretty sure I already made that Ghostbusters reference when Gibson Praise was forced to do the same thing.
Smiley face. Statue.
Good guess, but wrong.
So Mulder does his little test, to which Krichgau claims he was only at a 5% success rate, which I call bullshit on, because he seemed to get a lot more than 5%. They run the test again, this time faster, and Mulder gets every single one. Back in Africa, the ladies are still being held captive, but what happens if they need to use the bathroom? Does he just make them use a corner of the tent?
The ship! It brought them back to life!
Oh, Scully with the chair shot. The ladies managed to escape, but oh no, it's the spooky man again. A spooky man who can take over the bodies of women, I guess? Whatever, he disappears and Dr. Amina just looks at Scully like, what the hell is wrong with this white lady?
Turn us around.
Not back to the beach.
No. I'm going home.
Scully? I don't think she can drive back to Washington, D.C. from Africa. Skinner and Krichgau argue about what to do with Mulder, since Skin Man thinks Krichgau was going to use Mulder to help redeem himself. Interestingly, Krichgau claims Mulder is the X-File now. Man, I sure hope he doesn't become the X-File again at the end of the season. That would be silly.
Hey, what's going on here?
Let me see your hands. Hands!
Why is she always such a party pooper?
I want you to face the wall. Do you hear me? Face the wall.
That's funny because I feel the same way about her. Mulder then goes into a seizure, which is probably the worst thing that could happen in a moment like this. Dr. Barnes' driver arrives at the tent, and Barnes goes full slasher villain on the poor guy. Scully knew this guy was a psychopath. She really should have used that machete back when she had a chance. Back with Fowley, who's trying to cover her own ass with Mulder. She's like, yeah, I know I've been buddy-buddy with the cigarette-smoking man, but that doesn't mean I'm a huge bitch. Well, actually, Fowley. Also, this must mean Mulder knows CSM is still alive, no? Scully makes her way back to Washington, and the first thing she does is go to FBI HQ and ask Skinner about Mulder. Don't you think having a shower first would have been the better idea?
There's been some trouble.
What kind of trouble?
The Fowley kind of trouble. Skinner tells Scully how he and Krichgau basically screwed up, and now Mulder is locked down so no one can see him. He's like, listen Scully, there's nothing you can do. They're not just gonna let you walk in there. Scully tells someone she's a medical doctor.
They're going to deny you access.
Maybe as his partner, but not as his doctor.
Alright, so that one was a bit of a stretch, but what do you want from me? The pickings are very slim these days. Back in Africa, Dr. Barnes starts freaking out because the man he murdered has somehow come back to life. Maybe he should have paid more attention when the fish did the same thing earlier. I mean, that probably should have happened a long time ago. Anywho, so much for the strict lockdown, eh? Scully just has a casual talk with them and they let her right in. You know, Mulder's probably thinking, God, Scully, do you smell? Okay, since he can read her mind, if what Paget said in Milagro is true, that Scully is already in love with someone, does Mulder now know who that mystery person is? She tells him about everything she found, but I mean, he already knows. Back in Cali, Africa, Dr. Barnes is found, but why didn't he come back to life too? Alright, so the Sixth Extinction is fine, I guess, though the title is very hard for me to say, but I don't know why this story was so important that it had to be stretched out over 3 episodes. I feel like this could have been condensed into 2. Now, to be fair, it's been a really long time since I've watched this one, and I don't remember how the last episode plays out, but maybe it sticks the landing? Honestly, out of every mythology arc we've looked at over the years, this one might be the least interesting so far. I don't really care about Mulder turning into Gibson praise. In fact, I think it's kind of dumb. I do sort of find the ancient astronaut stuff to be kind of interesting, but not enough to be given 3 episodes. Also, anytime Fowley is on screen, I just want to walk into traffic. So yeah, if this episode feels a little like it's spinning its wheels, that's not just you. That was actually kind of the point. According to Chris Carter, the Sixth Extinction was designed as a transitional episode, basically the bridge between biogenesis and the much more character-focused follow-up, Amor Fati. So if you're sitting there going, okay, but where is this actually going? Congratulations, you're having the intended experience. And part of that comes back from where the show was at the time. Carter wanted to pull things back a bit, strip things down and make the X-Files feel scary again after season 6 went pretty hard into the comedic side of things. But the bigger issue, they kind of blew up their entire mythology. As executive producer Frank Spotnitz put it, since the episode's 2 fathers and 1 son, the mythology of the show had really been reinvented. We destroyed all the stuff about Mulder's father, the project, and the syndicate. All the things that had sustained us for 6 years were suddenly gone. We had no crutches. From that point on, every time we sat down to write a mythology show, we knew it was going to be a completely different challenge. So yeah, no pressure or anything, just reinvent the entire backbone of your show mid-series. Even Carter himself basically admits this episode is doing a bit of heavy lifting without really being the main event. I felt that with the Sixth Extinction, I was just playing a supporting role. The episode was just a transitional episode to get us to Amor Fati, which was really less about the mythology and more about Mulder's choices in life. And on top of that, there was some real uncertainty behind the scenes. At the time, they weren't even sure if the show was going to continue. Everyone was a little anxious, mostly me, about how to approach these episodes as if they were the final X-Files stories we would ever tell. There was a chance it could be the last year of the series. There were things that the series needed to do, character issues, and Mimi Rogers' character was a character you were destined to hate because she was a competitor for Mulder's affection with Scully. Yeah, I don't hate her because she's trying to compete with Scully, I just find her to be insufferable. When Kim Manners got a hold of the script, he honestly didn't know what to make of it at first. I was looking at the episode in the context of the 3-story arc that had begun with biogenesis, and thinking, what the hell is that about? Looking back in hindsight, now it makes a lot more sense, but at the time it was very confusing to us. And honestly, looking at it now, and not remembering what comes next, I sorta get how he felt. But despite all the big mythology ideas, aliens, religion, ancient artifacts, Frank Spotnitz said the core of the episode was actually pretty simple. For me, it was a lot like a 50s monster movie, with Scully out on the beach with this guy going nuts with a machete, the bug attacks, and the sea of blood. Yeah, it was supposed to be serious business, but overall, I thought it was shaping up as a pretty entertaining hour. Did Frank Spotnitz just admit to ripping off Attack of the Crab Monsters?
The bullets pass through it just like X-rays. So, you have wounded me.
Casting for the African sequences was apparently a nightmare, with casting director Rick Milliken needing actors who both looked the part and could speak the required languages, which shockingly is harder than it sounds. And then there was the bug stuff. Filming on the beach, that was great. Filming on Stage 8 with 50,000 dead crickets, not so great. Kim Manners once again said, "We had millions of dead insects on Stage 8 that stunk the place to high hell." Which already sounds bad, but don't worry, it gets better. Because when it came time to actually film the swarm attack, the bugs just refused to do anything. What we ended up doing was to blow popcorn and packing foam at her with big fans, and added the insects in post-production. I would pay good money to see this scene without all the added digital effects. Also, fun detail, all those dead crickets rented from a nearby entomologist. But even if you're an entomologist, what the hell do you need 50,000 dead crickets for? As for Mimi Rogers, she started having some serious doubts about her future with the series once she read the script. When I got the script for the Sixth Extinction, it was by far the most I'd had to do in an episode. It was so funny because about 3/4 of the way through, it occurred to me, uh-oh, this is way too good. I have too much to do. They're gonna kill me. No, they wouldn't do that. Or would they?
I'm in danger.
The Sixth Extinction currently has a 7.7 on IMDb. It's a fine episode for what it is, but I do feel like it's just filler until we get to the third part. So I might go with a 6 or a 7. Up next, things get wacky. As the cigarette-smoking man returns, a bunch of dead characters somehow come back to life, and is Mulder getting married to Fowley? Find out next time in the Sixth Extinction Part 2, Amor Fati. So what do you think about the Sixth Extinction? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're having a great day and stay spooky.
The wait is over.
Stop!
The fall's biggest event is here.
It's gone too far. How far would Mulder go?
It has power.
It is power.
The X-Files season premiere, Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
Huge thanks to all my channel members, you're the real MVPs of the Spooky Squad. Your support helps keep the lights flickering and the monsters fed. If you'd like to join up and help support the channel, check out the join button below. But no pressure, just watching and liking helps a ton too.